Welcome, everybody. I'm Roger Hanson, your host. Here with me is Bob Dub and Robert Hanson, my brother. Mark Edworthy got on the wrong Jitsi link, and I sent a message to him telling him that we are on this one, and hopefully he will be able to come in and be with us here shortly. With that being said, I would like to go ahead and introduce the topic. The first one that I have been doing was weather. Usually we do what I refer to as weather around the world. I am trying to make it to where I can do this at within 7 minutes, and then I turn around and ask everybody what's going on in their neck of the woods. So hopefully by the time I'm done, Mr. Edworthy will come in. He told me just now to make up my mind. So in the chat, so he's being really mean to me. With that, I am just going to go ahead and bring up the weather, as well as say thank you guys for being here on the panel, and we appreciate it, or I appreciate it. So this week in West Frankfort, Illinois brings warm summer temperatures in the upper 80s to low 90s with consistent daily chances of scattered rain shower and thunderstorms. On Thursday, August the 6th, the conditions were partly sunny with morning storms, a high of 89 and a low of 75 degrees Fahrenheit. And the rain chances were 50%. Now the chances of rain were 50% from Sunday all the way up to now, and it's going to be that way until tomorrow. 50% chance of rain. Now today, the conditions are partly sunny with morning storms, which we had. It's supposed to have a high of 89 degrees and a low of 79%. Like I said, the chances of rain is 50%. Tomorrow is going to be showers likely, chances of thunderstorms with a high of 90 and a low of 74. Now Saturday, the conditions are going to be scattered thunderstorms with a high of 83 and a low of 70. And I guess that is 50%. Yeah, that's the 50% too. So 50% is on Saturday as well. Now Sunday is where the chances of rain changes. And we're going to have AM thunderstorms with scattered storms throughout the day. The high is going to be of 82 degrees Fahrenheit with a low of 71 degrees Fahrenheit and a 47% chance of rain. Monday, conditions are going to be afternoon PM thunderstorms, mostly sunny and hot with a high of 91 degrees Fahrenheit and a low of 72 degrees Fahrenheit, with the chances of rain only being 14%. Tuesday, more PM thunderstorms with a high of 93 and a low of 74, and the rain chances are 36%. On Wednesday, that's going to have scattered thunderstorms with a high of 91 and a low of 69. And the rain chances are going to be 47%. Now, rainfall has been variable across the region here in southern Illinois. Some gardens received scattered showers and thunderstorms, while others remained fairly dry. This means it's worth checking soil moisture before watering instead of relying on the calendar alone. Gardens that miss the rain may still need a deep watering, especially vegetables growing in raised beds or containers. This week has generally featured warm summer conditions with daytime highs reaching the low to mid 80s, around 27 to 30 degrees Celsius, I believe. And this is all in many parts of Illinois. While still warm enough for strong plant growth, temperatures have been a little more moderate than during the recent heat waves. The slightly cooler nights have helped many plants recover from daytime heat. For gardeners, this usually means less heat stress, better moisture retention, improved flowering on many vegetables, and more comfortable conditions for pollinators during the day. Many gardens are entering a peak harvest season also. That's a big garden change that's taking place right now. So you may notice tomatoes beginning to ripen, squash and zucchini producing heavily, peppers increasing in size, cucumbers that continuing to produce. Also herbs or herbs, because I know you guys say herbs, but they're growing vigorously. Now, early crops beginning to slow down as the later season vegetables take over. The earlier crops are. Many gardens are also beginning to think about successive planting for fall crops. Many gardeners are. So, what's blooming around many gardens and landscapes? You'll find flowers mostly. That's black-eyed Susans, coneflowers, beta balm in some areas, or bee balm in some areas, zinnias, sunflowers, cosmos, marigold, dahlias in lavender. Now, with vegetables in bloom, many edible plants are flowering now, including squash, cucumbers, pumpkins, beans, okra, herbs like basil, stuff like that. The blossoms are attracting bees throughout the day. This is still one of the busiest periods of the years for pollinators. So you're going to notice honeybees, bumblebees, mason bees, where they're active, and then hoverflies, butterflies, and dragonflies hunting insects near gardens. Warm mornings followed by mild afternoons often create ideal foraging conditions for many pollinators. Now, don't water by the calendar, water by the soil. Stick a finger about 2 inches into the soil. If it's still moist, many plants can wait another day. Deep, less frequent watering encourages stronger root systems than lightly daily watering. Now, as we can see, every week brings new changes to the garden. The weather shapes what blooms. The blooms feed our pollinators. And those pollinators help produce the harvest we all look forward to. So, speaking of pollinators, tonight we're going to take a closer look at the hidden relationship that makes every successful garden possible. But before we do that, I want to turn to everybody who is on the panel, who I actually stalled time so that Lord Edward could come in and be a part of the thing, so that we can talk about what's going on in their neck of the woods. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to you guys. We had Mark Edworthy start last week. So Bob Dub, what's going on in your neck of the woods?
Well, it's cold. It's very, very cold. We have beautiful, beautiful cloudless winter skies. And so at night, all the heat is escaping. 2 days ago, we were down to 0 degrees, that's your minus 32, isn't it? Or something, 32.
Yeah, I believe
zero.
So. Yeah.
Last night wasn't so bad. It was only 2 degrees. And by next week, it'll be back up to 7 degrees at night. So it's just lovely, calm winter days with blue skies and very little wind, and then a lot of radiation loss at night. And yeah, the heaters have been going and extra duvets. And that's pretty much it at the moment.
Yeah,
And
it's
it's boring and cold.
it's amazing how that's working out with you guys. When you were talking to us earlier, you were saying that the weather is getting extremely colder than what it usually does, isn't it?
No.
Or warmer?
It's been quite mild. It's been quite mild. We had a huge amount of rain in January and
Yes.
February. And when we have a lot of rain, we usually have milder winters. This has been a quite cool patch because it's been the first time that we haven't had clouds for a while. But they're expecting what they're calling a gigantic El Nino in the Pacific Ocean this year. And of course they're making a huge fuss about it, and I just, from my experience over the years, is that weather changes. And every single year is different from every single other year. And to say that something's more gigantic than another thing, it's just a bit bizarre. So I don't know. Roger, I have to say that I rather take the weather report on the TV and the media with a pinch of salt, because I feel that it's all blown out of all proportion. It hasn't been that bad. Everybody's saying it's so bad, but if you look at the statistics, it's just another year.
Take your finger, put it in your mouth, and stick it up in the air.
Yes, that works.
That was not professional advice. Do not listen to me if you are listening to this show.
You just remind me of all the sort of old wives, British old wives' tales, things like using seaweed to give you a weather report.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, well, you know, one of the things that's really, really important if you're looking at weather trends is to realize that the Met Office assesses things over 100-year periods. That's how changeable our weather is. You need 100-year span in order to get a good picture. So,
And actual scientific studies haven't been around for that long. I mean, in Britain, 80 odd years or something.
yes,
So
it's extraordinary. Yes.
One thing I do want to mention too is, like, you know how I give like the 7-day with meteorology, 3 days is probably the only ones that you should even come close to taking seriously.
I don't know. I used to say, if you want to know the weather, look out the window. Simple as that.
Here they say, if you don't like the weather, wait half an hour, it'll change.
Now, I can tell you something if you want down-home advice that actually does work. And this is a friend of mine who gave this advice to me a long time ago, Josh, and he was dead on about this. If you want to know if it's going to rain, keep an eye on the trees. Okay, you can literally see the leaves turn.
Or better still, if you're in the countryside, keep an eye on the cows. The old thing about cows lying down before it starts raining.
There you go.
So that's
True. And cats, your cats, if you notice your cat, you will notice that your cat will come inside if the weather is going to go bad. So half an hour or so he'll jump. They do know.
So now that we've gotten a lot of that out of our system, Mark, how's things going in your neck of the woods?
It's been fairly mildish over the week, with the exception of I think it was Monday. Monday just gone. Third. It's been around 24, 25, 26 centigrade. So say 25, roughly 77 Fahrenheit. Monday was hot, 29, 30, according to this 29, but I reckon it was something like 32 in reality. So, so what's that? 84 to 89 degrees Fahrenheit. Just looking at the forecast. So I was just doing again. Treat this with a pinch of salt, but according to the forecast from the Met Office, this week or this coming week, Friday 23, Saturday 26, Sunday 28, 25, Monday, Tuesday 28, and Wednesday 30, and then it's all downhill from there.
Downhill is in good or bad? Because
As in lower temperatures.
okay, good. That's good.
25 centigrade, 24, 23, 21.
Well, that's technically not downhill. You know what I'm saying?
Well, downhill number-wise.
That's the first time I've ever heard the term downhill being used in a positive way.
Okay.
That is amazing. What's going on with the storms over in Spain and France? Did you get any more information on that? Or not storms, the fires. I'm sorry, the fires.
I've not really taken very much. The news on the fires have seemed to, without wanting to do a pun, fizzle out. I've been taking more interest in what's been happening in Spain over the last week. Morocco and Spain, that issue, but yeah, that's outside of this.
Yeah, it's weird because the same thing happened with the fires that are taking place in Canada as well. You know, we've heard very little of it, and I was just curious about how that's working out.
And also the fires in northern England as well. I presume there are investigations underway for all of these.
Yeah.
At the moment, so obviously we won't hear anything substantial.
In Washington State, there's 3 serious fires there. One that was set by a person and they arrested, but over I think they said over 15,000 acres has already been burnt through. And a lot of people lost their homes and all that. And in Carbondale, it was one person, an old man that lived there, owned the property, died from the explosion of his house. And 2 other people seriously injured. And it was another house caught on fire. No one died, but the place was completely burnt up. Another one.
Carbondale, as in Jackson's city. Jackson's county.
Yeah, over here in
where you are.
southern.
Yeah, where you are. Yeah.
Now, since you brought started talking, Robert, this is where we need to get into the main topic. Now, since you're here with me, there's no real reason to go over weather since I've done the weather and stuff. But what we can do is we can transition into the main topic for the day, which is nature's chemistry lab. And it took me a long time to figure out that cool name, so don't anybody say anything bad about it. But because this is where we get into a lot of the stuff that Robert's really interested in. And I told you I broke a lot of the stuff he was wanting to talk about down into different categories so it didn't get too complicated. So today what I want to do is I want to cover nectar versus oil. You hear Robert constantly talking about oil this, oil that, antiseptics, which I'm still trying to go through with him on that one. But I want to discuss nectars versus oils. Okay, to break it down, most flowering plants they attract pollinators with nectar, and these nectars are rich in sugars and serve as an energy source for bees, butterflies, hummingbirds, and other visitors or pollinators, whatever you want to call them. Now, some plants, however, produce floral oils instead of or in addition to nectar. Now, these oils are collected by specialized bees that use them to feed their larvae, and that's sometimes mixed with pollen as well. They also use it to waterproof the lines of their nests, and they also use it to create protection coatings for brood cells. These bees have specialized hairs in their legs in their legs or their abdomens, which are designed to gather these oils. Okay, that is one thing right there that I wanted to bring up, and then the floral scents. That's another thing. Many flowers also produce essential oils, which create their characteristic scents. Good examples include like lavender. You have roses. You've got jasmine, citrus blossoms. Now mint also. On top of that, that's one thing that I haven't mentioned yet. But mint. Now these aromatic compounds help pollinators locate flowers, sometimes from considerable distances even. Different pollinators respond to different scent profiles. Like bees are attracted to certain floral fragrances. Moths often visit flowers with strong evening scents, and flies may be attracted to odors that mimic decay or when it comes to like compost piles or organic matter basically. Now some orchids even imitate insect pheromones to attract specific pollinators. So that's going to be the first part of the topics, and after that we can get into the essential oils and start talking about them. But you guys have anything you want to say so far? Hello?
No, I don't think so. It sounds very, very interesting. I'm looking forward to hearing more.
Okay.
But I didn't actually realize that they were. I mean, obviously, now that I think about it, nectar isn't scent. Where does the scent come from? Whereabouts in the flower is the scent?
Okay, so I can get into the essential oils and then kind of go through it. If you can pull that up, I can. Now I know they produce the essential oils, but they didn't have much information on how they act, where it comes from within the flower.
Very, very interesting.
Just the heart of the plant. That comes from the heart of the plant, the fruit and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So the center of it.
Yeah, the center of the heart would build all the material and make like the sun and all that, the materials from the sun, breaks that stuff down as well to make that the process.
So through photosynthesis.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Very, very interesting.
So now if we can go into essential oils. Now, first brings us to defensive oils, of course, Now plants also produce oils and resins that discourage herbivores or protect themselves from diseases. Now, good examples is mint, which I should have mentioned before, but I haven't. This is a good time to mention it. Now, mints contain aromatic oils that can deter some herbivores and insects. Now, these defensive compounds generally don't play a direct role in pollination, okay? But they do repel them. Now, there's a lot of people who will tell you, like, when it comes to insects in the yard, if you put down mint, that actually does help. So if you grow mint in your yard, that's if you like the smell of mint or not. There's a lot of people who are picky about that, but you can actually do that, and they do help out with that. Chia is an alternative if you guys want to do chia. That's actually like chia plants. Everybody always used to make those little chia dolls and stuff. That's actually good. That's actually good for it too. So if you're not into mints, now
Yeah, I'm not familiar.
oh, you're not. You've never heard of chia? See, back in
tea.
you remember back in the 90s when they used to have chia, where little kids would take chia plant seeds and they would put water on and they would grow on like little dolls.
Oh, you're talking
grass
about
heap, man.
watercress. Watercress, are you?
Oh,
No,
Mustard.
chia.
Watercress.
Chia. That's
Or
all.
is that an American?
No,
an
it's like chia's chia, dude.
I know.
I'm amazed you've never heard
I'll
of
go and
chia.
check this.
It was like on every commercial in the 90s. I don't care where you lived in the world, you've seen chia.
80s and the 90s.
Yeah. Well, he's not
today.
big on, Mark's not big on TV either, so
Salvia hispanica.
yeah. There you go.
Okay. Yeah, that makes more sense. It's technically a part from the mint family. Again,
oh, it is from the mint family.
It's
well,
alternative.
unless Wikipedia is incorrect.
No, it's true. It's true. You're right.
Okay.
Now, another fun fact, too, if you guys want to know this, but pine trees actually produce resin that seal wounds. It helps defend against insects and fungus. So,
Against fungus.
yep, fungi.
Well.
I
I
have to use
suppose you don't often see mushrooms growing underneath pine forests. Did you say pine?
pine trees. Yeah,
Yeah, don't see mushrooms underneath.
Mhm.
And I was right. Chia is native to central and southern Mexico and Guatemala. So
Oh, really?
yeah, this is why I probably don't recognize it.
I haven't heard of it.
Not
So-
in Britain.
So next we get into the part Robert likes, since we've heard him talk so much about poison ivy. Poison ivy's urushiol. I guess urushiol. I've had to write this down so I can say it right, but it deters a lot of animals and it protects damaged tissues. So now we get to the part of pollen nutrition. Okay, because remember this actually is supposed to be nature's chemistry lab. So we've covered that. Now we're going to get into pollen nutrition. Okay. Now, pollen grains, they contain protein, fats, which is lipids. You have vitamins, minerals, the lipids rich outer coating of pollen helps protect it from drying out and can make it more nutritious for pollinators. Okay. After that, you have bee resins. Now, honeybees primarily collect nectar, pollen, water, plant resins. and that's used to make propolis, which they use to seal and disinfect the hive. Some other bee species specialize in collecting floral oils rather than nectar. So, floral oil bees in coevolution. That's the next part right there. Now, over millions of years, plants and pollinators have co-evolved. Flowers have developed combinations of colors, shapes, scents, nectar oils, bloom timing. Meanwhile, pollinators have evolved traits that match those flowers, such as long tongues, specialized hairs, or behaviors that make pollination more effective. So, what do you guys think about that information?
Well, how does that work within like in a dry climate, like a desert, like Mexico? How they got a lot of plants, but they farm in the desert area with plants,
That would be
and they use them honey, a desert honey bee.
see, that's what I'm saying. Like they actually evolve with one another. Like the plant themselves in a desert area is going to have to evolve to adapt to that environment. So apparently, whatever pollinator is there is going to have to adapt as well to the plant. So it really applies no matter where you're at. You know.
The quantity of all that, would that change from the dry air to moisture?
Well, I don't know.
Deformity.
But then, I mean, what you're gonna have to kind of be a little bit more precise about that. It didn't make too much sense.
Well, like, okay, if like farther up, like here in Illinois, the bees here compared to dry area, like in Arizona. Okay, the plants and all that, flowers or whatever. The material, like if you have the same plant here and the same plant there, does the amount of it decrease or more of it from a lack of temperature and below sea level or however?
You're talking about what the French would call tenure. Differences in environment. Well, again, it depends on the plant. Yeah.
I'm sure you get different varieties, don't you? Varieties that grow at lower levels, varieties that grow at higher levels, varieties that do well next to the coast, varieties that do well in the cities. Yeah, I'm sure you would get variations.
And the weird part about it is it's like I was saying, it could be in all those areas, but the bees and the flora, they have to evolve with one another. They have that relationship.
I was going to say not only bees, but other insects are pollinators as well. So, yeah.
Right. It's really interesting how they do have that relationship, and over millions of years, even like they've evolved together. You know what I mean? They coexist with one another. So just remember that for anybody who is into gardening and worried about the pollinators and things like that.
Have you seen that really bizarre post that's doing the rounds about the 10-year-old Japanese boy who tortured caterpillars? He gave them Pavlovian shocks to make them not like lilac plants. I think it was lilac or lavender. And he found that the butterflies that came from the caterpillars that he tortured, that he, whatever, of course, gave electric shocks. They didn't like the scent either, but not just them, down to 3 generations of their children avoided those plants because of he taught the caterpillars not to like them with electric shocks.
That is
Not
interesting.
seen that one. Interesting, yeah.
Yeah, but in the oils and that from one plant, what types of plants doesn't work with other types of, like if oil's in the air from a plant and it comes in contact with a different plant that it's a pollinator, but how does the two work? Does the two work together, or where it doesn't harm the fruit or the plant or the pollination?
That would be down to each individual species or
Right.
subspecies. Surely.
Because
I think sometimes yes, sometimes no. So it
Or the
just
plant?
depends.
Or like if one plant, the oils from it comes in contact with another plant, does anything come from the plants are able to handle that? Break that material down to use it.
Sometimes yes, sometimes no.
well, see, and plus
Yeah.
plants don't have to break it down for the pollinators. Okay, like they actually use their nectars and their oils to attract these pollinators. Okay, so it's not like they're actually benefiting from the pollinators themselves putting something into them. You know what I mean? It's like they're creating it so that they can actually attract these pollinators to them, so that they can take their pollen and transmit it to other areas. So that these nectars and these oils, they either attract the pollinators or they protect the plant from outside things like we were talking about with like the mint and the poison ivy and the pine trees.
Yeah. Oh, and talking about the pine trees, like when they release their pollen, and you got a garden right there, all that pollen goes into the garden. It uses the materials from it, wouldn't it? For bug resistance and all that. When it gets broken down, whatever don't get used by the plant, it stays there.
It gets degraded over time.
Yes, it becomes the humus
It's a
of the soil.
biological, yeah, it's a biological material, so it degrades.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but the plant uses the other types of pollen from other types of plants, or like poison ivy, poison sumac.
Well, when it comes to like bee resins, for example, okay, honeybees, they collect pollen, nectar, pollen, water. You know what I mean? Like I was saying before, or plant resins, and they use them to like make a propolis. All right. Now that's used to seal and disinfect their hive. That's not just for like them spreading the good news. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like
Everything works together. Everything in nature works together. Some things help each other, some things don't help each other. But to be able to say which ones, Robert, we would have to talk about each specific plant. This
Right.
plant is exactly like this and works with this plant and this plant at this insect. You can't really give very many generalizations because everything works together some way or the other. You know
Right.
that saying, what's one man's meat is another man's poison.
But what about the bacteria from the plant when it goes through the process and all that?
What bacteria? From which
what
plants, though?
Well,
we call
at the moment, we're staying focused on the on the nectar, and we are
Okay.
oils.
Well, I was just referring to after they manufactured the nectar,
Mhm.
whatever the materials that the plant don't no longer use, where does it go?
It just stays into them until they die, and,
Or
they
back into
become
fertilizer.
they
Yeah,
become
but-
part of the earth. You know, you got to also remember these plants have to grow as well. So some of these nutrients are being introduced into them, and they have to grow. You know,
Hmm.
so
Yeah.
Turns
I
into
mean-
leaf. Yeah.
you know, so there's a lot of things that are taking place there that you have to understand. You know, now this week on the community showcase, I did not have anything for garden pictures, and I didn't pick any kind of video clips or any kind of audio feed. But I do invite any viewers and anybody in the panel to submit photos or for future episodes if they want to. And with that, this actually opens up a chance for conversation to ask you guys, what do you notice about what we've covered so far? What advice would you give? And even what did you notice about like the footage that we were talking about in the first episode, and then the plants in Austin's garden that he submitted? If you guys wanted to discuss that, I know there was a question Mark asked earlier on in the first one about bones when I mentioned it in cleanup, and we really never got to discuss that. I don't think. Did we ever?
No.
I'll let Mark talk real quick, Robert.
Okay.
What?
Well, what was the question?
Well, I remember you said aren't bones beneficial when it comes to being in the ground because it's by.
Oh, you're talking about
The
using
cleanup
fish.
thing.
The old thing about using fish bones as fertilizer.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
stuff. Yeah.
Now, in that video, I just wanted to point out too that I was pulling the bones out and getting them gone because I didn't know for sure if that was like chicken bones or if it was like somebody's family pet. You know what I mean? Because you never know, especially when it comes to digging in the backyard. And yeah, bones aren't bad when it comes to like the ground and the soil and stuff. But the reason why I brought that up in the first place was because I've been hearing, like Bob Dub said, about the videos on the internet. You know, a lot of people are saying that like old remedies are worth using in their old wives' tales and stuff. So
Well, one thing that's
Some of
very
them are-
important to remember is that a lot of what happens with the old wives' tale doesn't give you the instruction on how to make that old wives' tale true. Like if you take a whole lot of bones and put them in your back garden, they're not going to help at all. They will stay as bones in the soil. They won't decay. They won't add anything. They won't break down. It takes too many years for them to break down. So if you want something to be good in your garden, you have to dry it out and crush it up. That's also for chicken eggs. If you're putting egg shells in your compost, it's really important to crush them up small, because otherwise you're waiting for the earth to do its job, and we know that the earth takes millions of years to do anything. It's not
Okay.
a quick worker.
It depends on the thickness of the bone. I mean, as an
It's
example, fish bones are very thin. You
Very
average,
thin.
I don't know, mackerel,
brittle.
sardine bones are extremely thin and they'll break down quickly.
But when
But
they
even
consider
chicken bones are too
Right.
big.
yeah, chicken
Fish
bones.
not.
Yeah, you'd have to crush fish bones down. Now, what was you saying, Robert?
Sorry.
yeah, but wouldn't it depend on, okay, like your altitude from where you're talking? I'm saying from lower, because the moisture of the soil, the material, the stuff that breaks down from the soil, wouldn't it have to? The soil would have to be
Okay. Now,
Okay.
how fast they break.
you keep like bringing altitude and stuff like that up.
Actually,
trying to
he has got
complicate-
points. He has got
No.
points. Generally speaking, the wetter the soil, the easier, quicker material breaks down.
Well, let me kind of say this. Like, when you go to garden, no matter what altitude you're in, when you go to garden, you are going to do physically the same exact thing I will do here whenever I am gardening. It doesn't matter what our altitudes are, we are going to do the same thing. We just have to learn how to adjust according to our environment. You know what I mean? Because like I'm in the United States, I'm in a zone where the soil is very dense. Okay, it's very it's like flakes. Roots, when you grow them in that soil, freaking, they are very loose. So you have to be able to grow plants in this kind of soil that's very loose. Whereas in your country, you probably got thicker soil than what I've got, and it'll be easier for you to grow something. You know what I mean? Other than that like we do things the same exact way. I put my finger down in the dirt to freaking make sure that it's a quarter of an inch. It's an inch. It doesn't, you know what I mean? We do the same exact stuff.
Okay. One other thing. Okay, what about the mushrooms? Mushrooms are a plant, and it grows in a garden. Okay.
They're
When
fungus.
it comes into it's a fungus, but different types of fungus for different types of mushrooms.
Technically not a plant.
Yeah, that's it.
Well, there's some that's poison, some it's not. Some
Some
grows
that's
real big.
hallucinogenative, and
Yeah,
you know,
Oh.
so some that you don't want in your garden.
that's right. But look how it grows. It takes a dead tree, the sap to be all dried up, and now whatever's left of the sap in the tree, it uses it to grow with inside of the dead tree.
It's interesting.
Yes, very interesting. They have many different ways. Many different. It's an extraordinary organism, and apparently it can exist in outer space without soil, without air, without water, without anything.
Mhm.
It doesn't die.
Some species.
Now
Some
we
species of
now-
mycelium.
we have 8 to 10 minutes here, and I want to ask you guys this because I want to see if you guys have been noticing this or not. But have you guys noticed any different pollinators this year in your area that weren't there before that have appeared?
I have to say no.
What about you, Mark?
Not really take very much notice, but don't think so.
What about you, Robert?
I haven't. I've heard of two of them. I don't know if it's correct or what, but it's a bulldog ant and a some kind of bully bee or something like that. I don't know if it's the real thing or if someone made it up, but that's the only two that I can think of.
No, I've seen one that looks like a wood bee with yellow stripes around it in the back parts of it, all black with 2 black stripes on it.
Oh, you mean what like an electrical bee?
Maybe.
Okay, yeah. They were. I did not know if that was true or not, but they said to watch out for them because they will literally, if they hit you, they will literally take you to the ground where you will be hurting, and you want to make sure your pets your dog or your cat, don't try to chase it and eat it because it will not be good for your animals.
Good to know.
Yeah,
So-
I did, actually, funnily enough, I was watching a small documentary. I have an odd then, not that long ago, about a certain Latin American ant invading throughout Midwest US. I don't remember what it's called now.
No, I've actually seen this weird one, but it could be something that's been around. I just haven't noticed it, but it looks like a little beetle, but it's solid red. A solid red beetle-looking creature, and it was really strange. I haven't seen that one before.
Does it look like it has hair?
Yeah. Little
Okay,
bitty.
I seen that one. They were explaining. It's an insect killer. It is. It hunts for other types of insects and all that, and it looks for them like for spiders, flies, and small insects as well, even bed bugs and that, and it kills them, eats them.
Okay. So,
Your solid red beetle then could be a variation of the ladybird. I was looking at there were 3 different variations that could subspecies that could match up with us. The spotless lady beetle, the Asian lady beetle, and the scarlet lily beetle.
I
They
will
said-
check it out because we've actually had ladybirds in our that was actually a new group that showed up in our 3rd year of gardening. Actually, it was weird because we have plastic that sits in the yard, and they would get on the sides of the plastic and just bite the massive. I mean, you would see like 200 ladybirds just sitting there in a corner, just grouped together in the early mornings. It was so interesting. Yeah, it's
Fascinating. Were they migrating or what? Why were there so many?
they were sitting there together. I'm guessing they were huddling up for the night so they could keep themselves warm or something. You know, by the time 12 o'clock came around, they were completely dispersed. It was interesting.
Very interesting.
So before we end this, I want to ask you guys, okay, what pollinators are common in where you live that you guys have recognized? You don't have to be perfect. You don't, Mark Edworthy. I know you don't go outside very much, but just what have you noticed in your area when it comes? Because I haven't ever had the chance to ask you guys this. I don't think. This would be a good time to do it since we're on the 6th episode. I don't, you know what I mean? It's about time. What kind of pollinators you got there?
Oh, I know. It's
Dude, you walk, okay? Come on, you don't really have to Google that, do you?
Yeah, the only thing I've seen is bees. No, except with English pollinators.
I'll do New Zealand pollinators because I have no idea. I'm just hoping that you're going to speak all the time so there's no time left for me.
Bees, hoverflies, and butterflies.
Ain't butterflies a pollinator too on something?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yes, definitely. Definitely. That is mostly, I mean, and you know, the thing about it too is a lot of people don't really pay attention to the fireflies. The fireflies are really important, especially when it comes to like your late summer.
Fireflies are US thing though.
Well, I don't
think there
know.
are fireflies in the UK.
You guys don't have fireflies?
No, at least I
We
don't
have
think so.
lots.
No.
You have to have them. They're in all the stories. How can you not have them?
Yeah. It's like, if I remember correctly, they used to mistake fairies or fireflies for fairies.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the UK does not have native flying fireflies.
Well, the UK wiped them out.
Oh, let's not get into that. We're talking gardening there.
Yeah.
Closest relative would be the common glowworm.
Glow? You got a picture of that?
Maybe that's what we have as glowworms.
Lightning bug? Would that be the equivalent of a lightning bug here in the United States?
I wonder what a lightning bug is.
I'm not sure.
You guys have lightning bugs?
Do not know what lightning bugs are.
We have little bitty bugs that fly in the air, and they have little green lights. They go on and off.
Oh, really?
No. Lightning bugs would be commonly called fireflies.
Really?
Okay. Yeah, I see. Wikipedia is just bunching up a load of subspecies into one. Then, okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
there's
that included
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely a difference between lightning bugs and fireflies. Trust me on that one.
Hey,
It's a subspecies of fireflies.
But what is that stuff that when you grow something in your garden, they say you got to switch from what you had there that one year, you put it somewhere else to, because the material from the plant, when it was growing there, what is that stuff called? What they reason for the process?
Well, that is a good topic, but it's not a part of today's episode. We will come back with more information because we are coming to the end of the hour, Robert. Okay, and I do have another topic that you wanted to discuss, or two of them actually, and then I will add that to it because then we can get back into the soil and start talking about rotation. Things of that nature,
Nice.
which is what you're talking about. You know what I mean? Which soil rotation is very important, and I do want to break that down and get to it eventually. But like I said, we have less than a minute to close this out, so let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and do that. Before we do, Bob Dub, where can people find you?
You can find me in the Swarm space, swarm-space.lovable.app, and you can find me also on minds.com. And then most of my video work is on Bob Dub channel on YouTube.
Okay. So how about you, Mark Edward? How can people get in touch with you?
It's mainly just one site, minds.com, username Medworthy.
Right, and you can find me and Robert at minds.com at Roger_Hansen. You can also find us on X, Roger Hansen at ROGLOL1973. I am on Teams as well as Element Matrix at Roger's Hangout. You can find me there too. I am in Element Matrix. I am on the Infinite Imaginarium and the Quantum Gathering, which you can find if you have proper clearance. With that being said, thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this, please make comments in the comment section below. Like, subscribe, share. We will talk to you later. Thank you for being here and have a good day.